Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you again for tuning to another episode here of Fantasy First on the High Stakes Sports Debates Network. And here we are at the end of July. We all know what that means. It's training camp time. Very shortly, all these fantasy players that we've been talking about all summer, all the projections, everything that we've predicted, we'll finally see come into fruition with camp battles, stuff like that. Everything changes. Value's going to drastically change pretty soon. So the theme's been sleepers lately, and everybody loves sleepers. So this video is going to be even more sleepers that you guys can target later in your rounds. Could potentially provide you with QB2, RB3, or WR3/4 value. And these are all guys that are going to be available round 10, round 11, and lower. And when you get that kind of production at that value, that's always a win. So we're going to run right into the first guy here, as I've got three quarterbacks that I want to talk about. And the first one is the Eagles quarterback situation, okay? I read a stat lately that since Chip Kelly took over for the Philadelphia Eagles, quarterbacks have averaged 18 points in that time frame. The only quarterbacks that have averaged more points, Andrew Luck, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, and Peyton Manning. Okay, that's pretty elite company to be in when you talk about fantasy points per game. And right now, we're still not sure what Sam Bradford's health is, okay? But whether it's Mark Sanchez or Sam Bradford, if I'm getting that in round 9, round 10 value that could potentially put up quarterback one numbers, somebody that you can get deep in your draft, you look at him as a potential streamer, but then you end up realizing, wow, this guy's putting up pretty close to almost 18, 20 points a game. That's safety. I like the Eagles quarterback situation as potential value, and if you do get Sam Bradford, you might want to handcuff yourself with a Mark Sanchez there. And again, we've gone over the Eagles schedule. It's relatively easy, okay, for the exception of the AFC East. So I really like the value there. Chip Kelly's system puts up points, and I just want the trigger man there. Number 2 on my quarterback deep sleeper list is Marcus Mariota. All the buzz is about Jameis Winston right now. We understand that this guy's one of the best quarterback prospects we've seen since Andrew Luck. But when I look at Marcus Mariota, the reports out of OTAs, again, it's OTAs, but they have been raving. They love this guy. One thing I like about Marcus Mariota is the rushing yards. Ken Whisenhunt, he came out and said, we want to kind of use some of the elements from the Oregon offense, really help kind of transition this kid from a system to a pro system, okay? And Ken Whisenhunt could potentially run read options, a lot of plays that involve Mariota's feet, and that's a safe floor rushing yard since they're so valuable at the quarterback position that I like him as a deep sleeper. Again, the AFC South, nothing really intimidating there minus a J.J. Watt. You're playing the NFC South, which didn't get a whole lot better. I like Marcus Mariota, and with Kendall Wright, potentially Dorial Green-Beckham at 6'5", maybe a Justin Hunter on the opposite side. There's decent weapons here. I'm not going to say that they're world-beating, but they're decent weapons. And if I'm looking at Mariota in potentially round 13 as a quarterback 2 high-end because of rushing, I'll take that value all day, especially if I need a streamer. If I already went late on a quarterback, I took a guy like Ryan Tannehill, and I'm just looking for depth there. I like Marcus Mariota. My third quarterback here in my deep sleepers is going to be Derek Carr. I was looking at the numbers. I dug a little deeper than the surface, and I looked at those 599 attempts, okay? That's a number that I really like. You look at Andrew Luck, I think he attempted like 615. Ryan Tannehill was in that high 590 range, okay? When I look at volume from a quarterback, all right, I want to see those pass attempts there. But when it comes to quarterback 1/high-end 2, I need the touchdowns. And now you talk about you brought in an Amari Cooper, okay? Say what you want about Michael Crabtree. He'll be delegated to number 2 duties. I'm still not convinced that Rod Streeter's just done, at least as a number 3. There's decent weapons there. We talked about Michael Rivera, all right? Nobody elite, but when I like Cooper, I like Crabtree playing a 2, and I like a division where you got to put up points to be successful. Latavius Murray could help ease some pressure off Carr. But I look at those 599 attempts, and I think that this guy could potentially be one of those high-volume quarterbacks in the future. If I'm getting him around 14 here as a potential QB2 high-end prospect, I'll love that value all day. Thank you. So Derek Carr's my final deep sleeper going in for quarterbacks. Moving on to running backs. Two guys here that I mainly want to bring up, and they're fairly deep. And this is a training camp battle you're going to want to watch out for in New England, is who's going to fulfill that Shane Vereen role right now. And the talk and the chatter seems to be James White, coming out of Wisconsin, always was in that pass-catching role, okay? He's not going to get a ton of work inside the tackles, but again, if you're in PPR formats, and I stress only PPR formats, you're looking for a deep sleeper, somebody to monitor during training camp, okay? Because Shane Vereen finished as a top 20 PPR back last year in a game-dependent role, all right? Someone's going to have to fill in Josh McDaniel's system. They love those short routes to the backs, all right? You know Jonas Gray, LeGarrette Blount, and potentially Bolden will be there. Those will be your thumpers. But in terms of catching passes out of the backfield and fulfilling that role that Shane Vereen left behind, I like James White as someone you should look for in rounds 14 plus and a training camp guy to look out for. The other running back here I've got is David Cobb, drafted by the Tennessee Titans. We all know that Bishop Sankey didn't really pan out to be what everyone expected him to be, all right, because he was in a situation where it was really just Sean Green. Everybody kind of rushed to draft this kid, all right, but he didn't really show what we thought he could be. Kevin Wisenhunt said times during the year that his feet were too slow. All right, he danced around at the line from the film that I saw, wasn't really decisive in hitting a hole. Okay, I like David Cobb to come in here. All right, he's not the greatest pass catcher. He's probably looking like a 10 to 20 catch guy at best. All right, but his patience in the hole, his burst, the way he runs with power, I like David Cobb as a potential sleeper and someone that you're going to want to watch during training camp to find out whether this guy gets the starting not, because he might rise up in value if he does, but it's still somebody I want to target. It's still a running game with a quarterback that'll use his legs, so you know that the lanes will be there. So when I look at value and I need an RB3 potentially, and I'm stacked at receiver, maybe I've got an elite quarterback, I'm looking at David Cobb at the end of my draft to potentially be a flex end option. All right, so moving on. Finally, I'm going to finish here with some deep wide receivers, maybe some guys that you weren't really sure could provide some sneaky potential for you. And the first guy that I want to mention is Ruben Randle. All right, the New York Giants ran the most 3 wide receiver sets in the entire National Football League. Okay, that spells good for Ruben Randle. Assuming Victor Cruz is healthy, he'll be the number 3 option. All right, but listen, this guy was targeted in the red zone a decent amount by Eli Manning. Okay, he is the tallest receiver that the Giants have, minus a Larry Donnell at tight end. Okay, so he'll get some fade opportunities in that offense in the back of the end zone. All right, and I like his yards per catch. I think he was in the 14 again. So you know that Ruben Randle has the opportunity to provide you with deep plays down the field. Eli Manning loves that deep ball. That was kind of the staple of Kevin Gilbride's offense throughout that 10-year tenure there. Okay, so when I look at Ruben Randle in that offense with that upside, okay, because we know that there'll be a lot of pass attempts from Eli Manning. I'm thinking 600 to 650 this year, because that offense runs through him. I like Ruben Randle to maybe put up a sneaky 900 yards, 6 to 7 touchdown season. And if you play him on the right weeks, like Dallas, like Philadelphia, you could be rewarded with flex potential. Another wide receiver that I want to talk about that nobody's talking about that really erupted during the Super Bowl was Chris Matthews. 6'5" target on the outside for Russell Wilson. That's a guy you're going to want to watch during camp. All right, we haven't heard much about him, but we all know the woes with Jermaine Kearse, with Doug Baldwin. Not really guys that you want out there catching passes. Nothing really dynamic or physical about them. When I look at Chris Matthews, I see one of those big physical behemoths potentially. potentially. Russell Wilson is my quarterback, so I know the accurate passes will be there. If this guy gets an opportunity to be Russell Wilson's outside option, I'll scoop him up and take a chance on him. We saw what he did in the Super Bowl in that final first half drive, catching that touchdown pass with like 15 seconds left. I like Chris Matthews as someone who could potentially surprise, assuming that he's getting the reps come training camp. So look out for Chris Matthews. Another guy that I want to talk about deep wise is Stevie Johnson. Stevie Johnson kind of faded into ambiguity in San Francisco, but let's not forget the 2 or 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons he put up in Buffalo with pretty crappy quarterback play. Talk up Ryan Fitzpatrick all you want, but you know he's turnover prone. All right, he's not consistently accurate. We know that about Fitz. To be able to put up 2 straight 1,000-yard seasons, which Sammy Watkins didn't even do last year, by the way. Okay, I like that value. He's going to be playing with Phillip Rivers, a good quarterback for the first time in his career. All right, I like that upside. He might be playing in that slot role, and with Antonio Gates gone for the first couple weeks, I like Stevie Johnson to be a potential boomer bust wide receiver 3 in that offense with his talent. So it's another guy you're going to want to look for. Again, we want to look and project guys that are in good offenses, especially at the wide receiver position. So when I look at Ruben Randall, Chris Matthews, and Stevie Johnson, they either all have good quarterbacks or in pass-friendly systems. All right, so these are deeper guys that could potentially provide you with wide receiver 3 upside. So those are some more deep sleepers for you guys. Maybe we'll come out with another video soon with even more sleepers. I don't know, but expect some training camp videos to come out as the weeks progress. I want to update all you guys on training camp, how these players are doing. We're going to do a training camp battle video that you guys should watch. Guys you want to look out for, matchups, you know, a Devontae Freeman, Tevin Coleman type of deal, things you want to watch out for. Again, you could go ahead and follow me on Twitter at SportsDebateTom. Okay, we're on Instagram now at High Stakes Sports Debates. The Facebook page will be coming soon. So please, if you like the content, if you want more, just give me a subscribe, give me a like. I'm really devoted to providing you guys with a fantasy football channel 365 days a year. I will not slow down, as this is pretty much an addiction for me. So keep it locked in. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you next time here on Fantasy First. High Stakes Sports Debates.